Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? 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 Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
What's up YouTube, I'm back with another great tutorial, hope you're all doing well. I prepared another trance project. This time I tried to create that deep, groovy dub trance style and I'm really happy how it turned out, so let me know your feedback and questions in the comment section. And if you want to use any sample, preset or effect rack out of this project, you can download the full project file with the link in the description. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you follow me on my socials, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, that would help me a lot. We are very close to hitting 1000 subscribers, so big thank you for all the support. And now let's jump into the project. So for this project we are at 150 BPM and in the key of G minor, and I prepared 3 different 8-bar loops here. The first 8 bars is that little intro and build-up section, and in the second 8 bars we have that drop, and in the third 8 bars we have a little variation in the drops where all the elements playing together. But as always we go through the arrangement at the end. Let's start with the low end. So the low end itself sounds like this. So we have a very deep and subby bass line, which is playing a little groove, and we have a punchy kick with a very present click sound, which is important to have a nice contrast to the bass line. So only the kick sounds like this. And for the processing I only added a utility in mono to avoid any phase issues, and a EQ where I took out the very low unnecessary frequencies, and I did a little dip here around 1.8 Hz because in this area I had the feeling the click sound was a bit too loud, so I took it out there. So it's just reducing a little bit of that click, but it's still punchy enough to cut through the mix and works well with the bassline. So the length of the kick is exactly 1/8 note, so we are not clashing with the bassline. So the bassline itself sounds like this. And we have one note on every offbeat. Only the second note is playing in an 8th note and the last note going from G to F. And because the second note is only playing an 8th note, we get that nice groove in the low end. I made the sub bass preset in Serum, and it's basically a default saw wave, but I turned on the warp mode here on band plus to make a curve in the saw wave to achieve that subby sound. And of course I added a sub layer, which is pitched down 1 octave to boost the sub even more. For the filter I activated the MG Low 12 filter and did a very big high cut here to focus only on the mid and the lows, and the beginning of the note is shaped by the envelope 1 right here, sustain a lot and the decay time. Then I added a few macros here. The first macro is just to boost the highs, but it's not necessary for the bassline we want for this track, so I only boosted the drive in the FX here, and I modulated the resonance of the MG Low 12 filter until it sounds good to me. So 30 works the best here. This macro is controlling the gain of the sub, and I mix that in around 10% right here. For the FX section, I added a compressor on multiband mode to boost the highs and the lows separately and boosted the overall gain here. Then I added a distortion on tube mode where I boosted the drive around 85% to get more body in the bassline. Then I added another filter to cut out the highs even more, to really focus on the mid and the lows, and another equalizer to take out the very lows, to make the sound a bit smoother. And that's basically it for this sub preset. And for the processing, I added a compressor on sidechain mode where I added the kick as the source to avoid that the length of the bass line is clashing with the kick. So every time the kick is playing, the bass line gets ducked a little bit. And here it's not a problem, but because of the release time of the bass line, it's going a little bit into the kick, and therefore it's important to add a sidechain compressor. And then I added a saturation and a raw effect to add more frequencies in the mid and the high areas to the sub bass, so that the bass line is able to cut through all the elements later in the mix. So without the effects and with. So we're adding more frequencies and it gets more louder. The EQ is only for the arrangement, so we talk about that later. And on the kick and bass group, I added a glue compressor with a very high attack time and a very low release time, and turned on the sidechain filter here and lowered the threshold until the needle is peaking at 1 or 2 dB. And with the makeup gain, I increased the volume so that the bassline is on the same gain as before. So without the glue compression. And with that, we're controlling the dynamics of the bass line, and we're adding punch to the low end without doing too much to the low end. For the drums, I added a basic bright open head and boosted the highs and the mid here a little bit to make it even more bright. And with the saturation, I added more texture to the open head, so I gave it a 10% boost and lowered the output here. And with the reverb, I also want to achieve more brightness in the open head, so I lowered the decay time so that the tail is not getting too long. And because I added those effects, I put the EQ at the end to take out the low frequencies that I just added with the reverb and the saturation effect. For the clap, I added a nice tight clap sample, which fits perfect in this track. Just did a low cut here for the low frequencies, and then I created a perk group, and the perk group sounds like this. And here I just added 2 more open heads and the second open head, just to have more variations. And for the perk loop, I loaded in a couple of perk loops which I liked and cutted them in a new order, which I had the feeling fit the track. And that's a nice technique to create your own perk loops. And the perk loop sounds like this. And underneath the perk loop, I put a shaker loop. And this one is very important to achieve that groove. On the whole perk group, I put a saturation and give them a little bit of distortion to make the perks standing out more in the mix. And all the drums together. And for the synth group, we have that dub chords are playing. And when it comes to creating dub chords, it's very important to have a lot of movement in it and nice long reverb tails. So I created 3 different Serum presets to make the chords interesting throughout the whole arrangement. And I'm able to increase the power of the synths by adding more layers or take some layers out here and there. Yeah, so the first dub chord synth sounds like this. And the way I did that preset is in Serum. I used 2 oscillators here. First is the basic CJW wavetable, where I increased the unison to 5 to achieve that wide sound. And for oscillator B, I used that harmonic morph. And as the name says, this one is really adding the character or the harmonic of the dub chords. So for example, when I turn the oscillator B off, we get that bright and wide sound. And with oscillator B, we get that typical dub sound harmonic. Also activated the sub here and pitched it down 2 octaves, to give the sound more body. Also use the pink noise here to get even more texture in the high end. And then I use the MG Low 18 filter here, which is controlled by macro 1. So it's all the way to 100% here. And to achieve that movement in the sound, I use 2 different LFOs here. The first one is controlling the wavetable position of the oscillator B. And I set the rate to 2 bars. So every 2 bars, the wavetable position is changing along this curve here. And with that, we get a nice natural switch of the sound. Same thing for the LFO2. Here I modulated the sync warp mode of both oscillators just to create a bit of extra movement and make the sound more interesting. For the FX, I added a compressor on multiband to boost the highs here and set the overall gain to 30 dB. And with the equalizer, I increased the frequencies where that typical dub sound is sitting. So around 1300 Hertz here, just to highlight this area. Then a MG Low 24 filter to take out some of the very highs. And then I added a reverb with a high decay time to achieve that long reverb tail and a ping pong delay with different settings left and right just to make the sound more full. And yeah, that's it for the first dub chord preset. The second dub synth sounds like this. And this one is almost the same preset as before, but I wanted to achieve more texture and more dirtiness in this synth. So I changed the oscillator A to the dirty saw here and increased the unison even more and gave it a shorter decay time here with the envelopes. And envelope 2 is controlling the wavetable position and the cutoff here so that it gets a bit more plucky than the synths before. LFO1 here is controlling the cutoff over 2 bars for the same movement like the synths before. And the FX are exactly the same, just changed the frequency of the equalizer to 2600 Hertz here because for this synth I wanted to highlight this area. The third dub synth sounds like this. And with that, since I really wanted to create more movement and make the sound really interesting for the last 8 bars here, and also did a change in the chords here. And the way I did that preset is with a basic saw wave, increase the unison to 4 here. Did no changes to the envelopes because I want a flat sound, and all the magic happens here with the LFOs. So I brought in a little LFO pattern here and linked the LFO1 to the level and the band plus warp filter here from the oscillator A, and also to the cutoff of the band 24 filter. And with that we get that nice movement. So this synth really fits well underneath the dub chords, and it makes the sound so much more interesting. And added a second LFO, which is also controlling the cutoff to get that nice peak every 1 bar here. For the FX, I added a distortion on tube mode and boosted the drive around 75%, and added a EQ to give the frequencies around 1250 a little boost here. Then a basic delay on 1/16 and basic hall reverb. This time I put the compressor under the delay and the reverb to give them a boost and make them more present. And for the MIDI notes here, I just played 2 different 3-note chords. Nothing too special here. And for the third synth, I played 1 long chord and made a little variation of the chord here at the end. And that's it for the dub synth. And here I recorded 1 dub chord and reversed it to create a nice transition to the third 8 bars here. And with that EQ, I increased the resonance here and modulated it from right to left to get that nice sweep sound. And the last sound in the synth group is that string sample right here. And this one is really important. So take a close listen to the string sound in the build-up section.
Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
So even it's at minus 14 dB, it's just slightly playing underneath all the different elements, but it gives that nice feeling in the build-up section. And that's a very common technique to do in build-up sections, to add 1 single string sound note just to make the build-up more interesting. And it really works, so if you never tried that, you should definitely try this in one of your next projects. For the vocals, I used some basic vocal phrases out of my vocal sample pack, and only the vocals sound like this.
Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
Did a bit of processing here. With the EQ, I took out the lows because we don't want low frequencies in our vocals. Then I added a compressor to catch the peak of the vocals a little bit. Then I added an echo instead of a delay because I want a more dreamy delay sound, and set it to ping pong right here. And with the auto shift, I automated the format here at the beginning, but we go through that in the arrangement. And on the vocal group, I added a OTT to make the vocals more crisp and stand out in the mix. So without the OTT,
spin it, baby.
And with
spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
So what the multiband is basically doing, it splits the signal into 3 different bands here, lows, mids and highs. And with the standard OTT setting from Ableton, the sound gets compressed in the different bands right here, and that causes that nice crisp and clean sound.
Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
So if your vocals are lost in the mix or too quiet, or just not able to fight through all the elements, you can try to add the OTT multiband dynamics. It will probably help your vocals cutting through the mix. So for the FX, we have that basic female shout here. And here I added a EQ to take out the lows, and a reverb to make the sound wide, and a delay on ping pong mode. Yeah, nothing too special here. Then we have that scratch sample. And here I added a pedal, because without the pedal effect the sound was too quiet for me. So I really changed how the scratch is sounding, which is cool. And then I boosted the gain with the utility and added a limiter to catch the peaks a little bit.
Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
Then I added a basic sweep FX. And here I modulated the frequency rate to achieve that nice left and right panning effect. Then a basic crash. And a very simple snare roll. And yeah, that's already it for all these sounds. Let's talk about the arrangement. So as I mentioned, I built 3 different 8 bars here. And in the first 8 bars, we have that build up section, which sounds like this.
Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
So the first thing I did here is to take out some of the lows of the bass line because I don't want to reveal the full power of the bass line in the build-up section. And that's a very important technique to give the listener the feeling that the drop is more powerful. At the drop, you reveal the full power of the bass line. Then in the first half, we have only the clap and then the open head and the clap with the perks together. Then I used only one dub synth layer, and in the second half of the build-up, I added this third layer to increase the tension of the build-up even more. Then we have the string sample, which is very important. We already talked about that. And for the vocals, I added that formant pitch after the delay.
Spin it, baby.
And this is just a nice technique to make your sound more interesting. And together with all the other elements, it's really building a nice tension for the build-up.
Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
Then you notice this little break here in the last bar. And this little break is very important because with that you have a bigger contrast and the drop gets more powerful because we have only one element here, which is the vocal. And in the second 8 bars, we have the kick and bass without the drums. And only 2 of the dub synth layers are playing. And in the second half,
spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
We have that little scratch sound, which is a transition, and introducing the drums right here.
Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?
And then we have that dub chord sample, which is reversed, and this one together with the crash right here is building the transition to the third 8 bars. And here with the second crash sound, I just reversed it and did the same auto pan technique like I did with the sweep sound here at the beginning. And altogether, the transition sounds like this.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
And also very important is to make a variation in your kick and bass. So I took out one kick here and therefore I added a double kick here and took out the bass line completely to build that tension before the third section starts.
Are you ready for this?
And in the third 8 bars, we are revealing all the elements we have. And because we have all the elements playing together, I added the string as a variation to make the transition to the next break.
Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
And then just added a part of the snare roll here. Together with the crash and the sweep sound, we get a nice transition to the next section.
Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby.
And that's already it for this project. I hope you learned something new. As always, let me know your feedback and questions in the comment section. And if you want to use any sample, preset or effect rack out of this project to just play around or use them in your own productions, you can download the full project file with the link in the description. And yeah, my Serum 2 preset pack is on the finish line, and I think I can finally show you the Serum preset pack in my next videos. Stay tuned for that. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you follow me on my socials, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, that would help me a lot. And yeah, also let me know your video ideas and what I should do next. So now we listen to the full track. Thanks again for your support and see you in the next one.
Are you ready for this? Spin it, baby. Are you ready for this?